I went around asking people in society what they think of food stamps and asking them specific questions to kind of get like what the public's view is. Not everyone in the public really does know, and I think that's an issue with food stamps is awareness. People really don't know what the issue is. Here are audio and video clips from people in the community answering questions about food stamps. What are food stamps to you?
It's the. I honestly have no idea.
Food stamps are the government program to give to people who can't afford food and have like a certain income that allows them to be on the program.
Stamps that people use to get discounts on food, I think.
Food stamps are given to people that cannot afford food and they have an allotted amount of money and you can spend it in certain places.
How big of an issue do you think they are?
I think it's like a pretty big issue in low income families.
No, I don't have food stamps. How do food stamps help people? Direct quotes from Lisa. Food stamps help people who have lost their jobs and people that are disabled.
They help people by giving a better opportunity.
How do food stamps affect society?
I think it gives people who have no other means of getting food a way to get food.
Direct quotes from Lisa. The government is giving out food stamps. Unfortunately, the system was originally designed to be temporary and help people get back on their feet. Unfortunately, today, there is no end to receiving the government benefit. There is no incentive to get off of food stamps with today's laws. We've created a culture of entitlement. Give someone food stamps and they will forever feel like they deserve them.
Well, they're helpful to those who need them, who can't afford food. But people who don't use them see them as like just free handouts. So, I guess they could be a disadvantage or an advantage depending on who you are.
Very important to society because they allow people who cannot afford the food to get the food that they need. Yeah. After interviewing people in the community and society, come to the conclusion that a lot of people really lack awareness and don't really know the issue of food stamps and don't really know what they do and how they benefit society. People really lack awareness of what food stamps are and what even the issue is. People think that food stamps doesn't apply to them because they do know where their next meal goes and they don't really have to think about where the next meal is coming from because they're not below the poverty line and they're not in need. And I feel like it's really important to have an understanding that there are people like this and there are people in need, and food stamps shouldn't be something that you're embarrassed about. So what is the issue of food stamps? There are many issues with the current food stamps program, specifically SNAP. One of the first issues with the program is the ineffectiveness it has at reducing hunger. SNAP has specific guidelines that are hard to follow and meet, which actually provides more food insecurity and a constant worry of the requirements. On top of the guidelines being ineffective, the program was built for temporary help, but instead many people need assistance for 10 years or more. Another huge issue with this program is how much money is spent into keeping the program going and who is all helped by SNAP. There's a lot of money spent on advertising for enrollment, and everyone who does work with the campaign has to meet a specific quota of people joining. The food stamps program has expanded to Puerto Rico and supplies to 1/3 of the population, which is costing U.S. taxpayers $2 million annually. The issue is so important because it keeps so many people out of poverty. According to the New Republic, the SNAP program kept 4.9 million people out of poverty in 2012 alone. This is including more than 2 million children. But some 16% of Americans, including 22.4% of children, still struggle with food insecurities, which is hunger. This is an issue. Food stamps is the nation's most important anti-hunger program, and for people to still be going hungry when so much is invested and so much money is involved is a problem. SNAP helps people from going hungry, but if not everyone is being helped, then is it truly working? What is the scope and magnitude of the problem? Given the issue of food stamps, the problem itself is pretty big. Specifically, food stamps are at risk for large-scale fraud and error association. According to Freedom Works, the Government Accountability Office reported that, in despite of great progress, the amount of SNAP benefits paid in error is substantial, totaling about $2.2 billion in 2009. That is surprising and is really made aware in society. This is a big issue which will be developed even further on in our research. Food stamps has also shows great efforts at keeping people out of poverty. Specifically, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, SNAP keeps 8.4 million people out of poverty in 2015 alone, including 3.8 million children. Food stamps has both its benefits and its many issues. So obviously we see that there's a big issue with food stamps, but what is the cause of this issue? A major cause of the issue when it comes to food stamps is simply the misconception about the program and its purpose. Many people believe that those who use the program are lazy and freeloaders and should just go get a job. However, more often than not, those enrolled in the program are employed. These misconceptions cause a ripple effect and oftentimes shame people into not using them. Specifically, I remember watching this show on TV one time, and this lady and her family, they were so happy that they finally received food stamps. And then when she went to use them at the store, she actually got to get brand stuff. She actually got to get normal food instead of just the bare minimum generic. And she saw one of her friends at the store, another school kid's mom, and they were in line together, and she was too scared to use them. She felt embarrassed, and that shouldn't be the case. Who does food stamps specifically impact and why? Food stamps has a positive impact on individuals in society that are struggling economically in their well-being. According to SNAP to Health, 92% of SNAP benefits go to households with incomes at or below the poverty line, and 56% go to households at or below half the poverty line. This shows how food stamps is given out to a vast amount of people, which impacts a lot of people in different ways. According to Brookings, SNAP is a highly effective program. It lifted nearly 5 million people out of poverty in 2014. This is crazy. This is a lot of people, and a lot of people need this and benefit from it. How does food stamps impact the broader society? The issue of food stamps impacts society positively for people in need. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities even says that food stamps is the most responsive federal program providing additional assistance during economic downturn. This is beneficial to so many people in society. Unfortunately, there are individuals that abuse food stamps. People get dependent on them and feel like they don't need to work. Some people even use food stamps to trade them for money, which is also a negative factor. Explain the complexity of the issue of food stamps. Politicians want to prohibit the purchase of junk food and soda with food stamps. This is because recent studies found that the diets consumed by SNAP participants are nutritionally worse than those of people of equivalent low income who are not enrolled in SNAP. Some might assume that food stamps, SNAP, encourages people to buy junk food. The complexity of this issue of food stamps also is raised to the economy. According to Fox News, the nation's food stamp program is one of the largest run by the government at $70 billion a year. But while the economy has improved dramatically, food stamps enrollment has not, declining just 17%, while the unemployment rate fell 3 times faster, 62%. Unemployment is falling as people get too reliant on food stamps as their resource. When it comes to the history of food stamps, we see a massive change in the economy in the amount of people using food stamps. In 1939, the first food stamp program was prevalent. People were to purchase $1 worth of orange stamps and would receive 50 cents worth of blue stamps. Orange stamps could be used to buy any food, but blue stamps could only be used on food determined by the department as surplus items. In 1964, the Food Stamp Act was prevalent. This strengthened the agricultural economy in providing improved levels of nutrition among low-income households. In the late 1980s, there was recognition of hunger, and this started to eliminate sales tax on food stamp purchases, reinstitution of categorical eligibility, increased resources limit for households, and expanded nutritional education.